Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
Welcome to another episode of the Transform Sales Podcast. Today, in another episode of the Sales Software Review series, I am with Snehal, co-founder of MeetRecord. Snehal, how you doing today?
Doing well, Eddie. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on the show. We want to learn more about MeetRecord and how it specifically helps sales leaders in SaaS and professional services get more insights about the conversations that their teams are having in order to build high-performing sales teams and win more deals. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what this means? What is MeetRecord about, Snehal?
MeetRecord helps revenue teams to capture insights from their sales conversations, to automate coaching end to end, and then find precise guidance to close deals faster, right? So it's a revenue intelligence solution which integrates with your meeting tools, with your dialers, with your calendar. All the calls and conversations are recorded. That also includes emails. And then we use AI to figure out certain insights to find those winning patterns and then help you replicate it across your team.
That is very powerful. Now, let me ask you something, Snehal. What would you say are the alternatives that your customers were using to analyze the conversations to get some insights before they acquired MeetRecord?
Yeah, so we've got all types of customers before using MeetRecord, right? Some were using just Google Drive to store their calls, which is very inefficient, right? You have to manually manage it. You have to update it. It takes crazy amount of time to do that, right? And with the changing environment, you're changing product pricing and everything, right? It just becomes very difficult to get some insights from them, right? Then you've got some customers which have used tools like Fireflies and Otter, which are they're just simple basic recording tools which do the transcription, but we do at least 2-3 levels beyond that, a lot into automated coaching, deal intelligence, and then figuring out those winning patterns so that you can actually coach your team on the go in real time without any bias, right? And there are, of course, the big big amazing companies which have been established like Gong. Now, Gong is focusing mostly on the enterprise market, right? What we bring in is much more customization so that it's in tune with your business processes, right? A lot more integrations, ease of setup, right? Which is built for the SMB and mid-market use case, and our AI, which is trained on numerous conversations and conversation data points on the calls of SMBs and mid-market. So that's what we are focusing on. And that's how we differentiate against the big players.
That's awesome, Snehal. I want to recap a couple of the things that you mentioned, and starting with my next question, which was going to be, what are the challenges? I want to recap a couple of the things you said. So number one, you may have customers that were just recording their calls either on the dialer or in another platform and uploading them to Google Drive just to have the example of the call, but then trying to identify which call, what happened there, and what is the coaching opportunity for the manager. It's really cumbersome. It's not ideal. It's not intuitive. It's not easily classified, tagged, etc. It's not easy to share either, but it's a way of getting it done. It's just time consuming. Then you mentioned that there are other tools like Otter and Fireflies, which, yes, they have an assistant that joins the call, listens to it, maybe gives you a transcript, but doesn't go a little bit further in the way that MeetRecord does, because there is AI analyzing not only the conversations and the meetings. You also mentioned that you can plug in the emails. So almost every interaction with a prospect is indexed into your tool, and therefore you have more data to analyze and more data to identify opportunities from and give recommendations through AI. Is that correct?
Exactly. Right. So when you are using any of these software, right, the Google Drive to maintain calls or very simple call recording solutions, they do their job. I mean, what they're meant for. But it's very, very difficult and cumbersome and time consuming for the managers to get those insights, right? And the sales leaders, for them to go through these calls, make notes, extract insights, and so on, just becomes too much complicated, right? What we want to do is enable everything in a click, right? Or just a single tab, right? And that's what a MeetRecord enables you to do, right? You have settings, you have alerts, you have advanced analytics, which are available at click of a button.
Awesome. And it sounds like some of those features, you may find them in larger tools like Gong and Chorus, but as you said earlier, they're meant for enterprise. So their price points are going to be larger. And even if you want like all those customizations, it's going to cost you a lot. You have an in between, let's say a more affordable yet customizable solution. So why don't you go ahead and give us a quick screen share, a demo of the key features that sales leaders in SaaS and professional service companies really love about MeetRecord?
So as soon as you integrate and you're onboarded, the admin of the company could integrate with the meeting tools, the calendar tools, and the CRM tools. We connect with extensive number of CRM tools out there, much more than Gong itself and few other competitors also, and then numerous dialers, right? Even the new popular dialers like AirCall, CallRaid, Close Dialer, HubSpot Dialer are there, right? So once all the integrations are done, automatically all the calls will start thinking in. You don't have to do anything. All the calls will be recorded. They will be synced into your MeetRecord platform. Once the call is synced, our tool automatically analyzes and creates the best summary. And our summaries are not the basic summary, it's tuned for the sales use case, right? So what are the next steps? What are the follow-up steps? What were the customer needs, which were mentioned? What was the customer feedback, right? So I'll open another call as well. So just to give you more details, right? So what was the customer feedback which was given, right? What were the additional or budget discussions which happened, right? So this is something which is available in MeetRecord. Further, we also have a follow-up email which is generated instantly, right? Saves crazy amount of time for the sales rep who have to think of, what I should write in. A solution summarizes the key points which were discussed and the next steps which are planned for next, right?
I really
Then
like your option. As you said, it can save a lot of time writing that next step or that email follow up that encompasses the next steps that you discussed throughout the call. Sometimes remembering them, you have to go back to the recording. So this makes it very easy to just copy, paste it. If you need to add or modify something, then that's way easier than writing it from scratch. I love it.
absolutely, right. And we also have trackers. Now there are two types of trackers. Of course, every business is different, so they can input in their keywords which they want to track, and our solution analyzes how many times they have been mentioned in the calls, right? We also have smart trackers, which tend to detect the new trends, right? The new competitor names which have come up, the new feature requests which have come up, and they will also be detected so that the sales leaders can stay in tune with the market, right? So they get access to all the customers' voice and they can now track, right? What are the new competitor names coming up? What are the feature requests coming up so that they can change their revenue strategy accordingly, right? Another USP of our product is the AI coaching, which is present in no other competitor out there. So our tool analyzes your best calls and your best deals to find those key points which you should or your team should actually replicate. And then it automatically scores on those points and generates a report at the end of the month. So this feature, just imagine if you're a sales manager who has 10 sales reps under them, right? You would be listening to 2 calls per week, right? That's easily 20 hours. The solution cuts down to close to zero. It automatically scores those calls, gives instant feedback without any bias. Correct. So this is the coaching bit in short. Further, all the conversations would come in a single bracket in a deal, right? So we have a deal summary which summarizes the key uh, points of the deal, the pain points, the use cases, the performance and objection handling done by the sales rep. So if you imagine if you're a new sales manager who wants to know about what happened in the deal, you need not go through 20 calls which happened before that, right? Or 20 conversations, both email and calls which happened before that. Everything is summarized. All the important points are summarized here. And then we have something called deal health score, which detects certain key points which were discussed in during the call, whether next steps were discussed, whether there were patterns around pricing or around customization discussed, right? Which actually help you to figure out whether the deal is on track or is at risk, right? So otherwise the sales managers or the sales VP have to go to the CRM, and then they have to see through the notes, right? Which might not be updated, which might be incomplete, right? So you don't get a clear picture of what's happening in the deal. Here you get a real time idea of what's actually happening in the deal. So this is another key feature of deal intelligence that we have.
That's very good analytics, and I love the way. And question: some of these notes can be transferred automatically back to the CRM. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So we have the CRM automation built in place where the deal summaries and the meeting summaries are automatically synced with the CRM. Any CRM field that you want to fill up, right? You can connect it with a particular point in the deal, and it will automatically get filled up. So you don't have to wait for the CRM update to happen. It just happens instantly after the call.
Excellent.
Last one feature which I would like to highlight, right, for all the sales leaders out there is our advanced analytics. So we have customizable dashboards. Again, this is not present in any other software out there, right? So it analyzes over 45 data points, conversation data points, or CRM data points, and you can then build your own dashboard to analyze what is trending for you, right? What you should focus on, how you should improve the team's performance, and so on. So this is again something which is present just in MeetRecord, and I can customize it. I can add multiple reports to it. I can download it and I can email it. I can also set an alert to it. So if a particular keyword gets mentioned, which maybe tells the sales leaders that you could lose a potential 50K deal, you would get an immediate alert so that you can act upon, and you not lose the deal. Right? So these were like few key features I just wanted to quickly show in MeetRecord.
I can see how this is very, very different from what you get in other Fireflies in terms of conversation analytics, coaching, even next steps, recommendations for next steps based on, again, what your reps said and what the prospect replied, the way the objections were handled, etc. Now, I wanted to ask you something else, Snehal. When it comes to deliverables, tasks, or people, what goes into setting up MeetRecord? How much effort and resources are required, and how long does it typically take to reach full productivity?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very interesting question because this has been our focus from the beginning, right? So we have set up a 5-step onboarding process. So you can get started with MeetRecord immediately, right? So how you start, you basically do the integrations, you set up your meeting preferences, right? You set up your trackers, you set up your coaching parameters that you want to track, right? And then you can onboard your team. And that's it, right? You can get started with MeetRecord. All the calls will automatically start syncing in. Over time, our AI understands from your best calls and your best deals, like what are the patterns we need to replicate, right? How should you tune your AI coaching and all that? So that's an ongoing process, which would take, 4 to 6 weeks. Post that, AI will automatically score the calls correctly, and then you'll get feedback, you'll generate user performance reports. So in probably 6 weeks or so, you can be using MeetRecord to its full potential.
Excellent. Now, in case someone in the audience, a sales leader, is considering acquiring MeetRecord and they're curious about the type of support they're going to have throughout the onboarding process, what type of channels do you have at their disposal? What type of communication can they resort to? Whether it's a free plan or a paid plan, do they have access to phone support, email support, meeting support? Help us understand this, please.
Yeah, so we start with a $19 plan, which is the most basic plan, but we provide complete support in that. And in the higher plans, we have a dedicated customer success manager, We have 24 hours cross 5 days support. You can reach over email, you can reach over phone. We also have a knowledge base in place so that if you want something very instantly, you could just search and get the answer there. If not, you could reach out to us directly, right?
Fantastic. All right, then my last question is going to be around the KPIs or the success metric that your customers should be looking at in order to evaluate if the progress with MeetRecord is meeting their expectations. What do you recommend they use to measure that? And what quantifiable outcomes should they be expecting, as you said, within those 4 to 6 weeks of setting up and letting the AI learn about their sales process?
Yeah. So first of the few important KPIs are around time. So the ramp up time, right? If you have a new sales rep, generally the ramp up time is around 8 weeks or so. MeetRecord would instantly halve it because of the sales recordings being present. The sales rep could go through the calls. The sales rep get instant coaching feedback and how to improve and work on them, right? So our customers have seen a ramp up time of close to 4 weeks instead of 8 weeks, which was there before. And that significantly impacts how much your sales reps can actually go and sell out there, right? So that's the first thing. The second big thing is the time spent in doing the repetitive mundane task. So for a sales manager, it is going through those calls, scoring them, right? Which probably takes 10 to 50, 20 hours, right? For a sales manager, right? And that instantly gets cut down to few minutes. For the sales rep, it is, around taking notes and then putting it in CRM. Again, that saves crazy amount of time, at least 8 hours in a week for a sales rep, right? So these are the two things which can be felt instantly. Then we have few more KPIs, which are more around, how faster your deals are getting accelerated. So there is a considerable improvement in, your discovery to demo conversion, right? From a demo to pricing conversion. So the stage to stage conversion is improved over time. It would take maybe around 2 to 3 months to eventually realize it. But that is like what we have seen with our customers is around 7 to 10% improvement in that, right? So in all, the tool helps you to save time, which is instant and immediately felt, right? And then, ramp up your new sales reps, coach your existing sales reps in half the time, and then do the deal acceleration bit by at least 10%.
That's amazing, Snehal. It sounds like speed across the board is something that they're going to notice a difference, not only from the reps using it and saving time and taking notes, integrations, finding insights, the managers looking at the reports and coaching their team, or at least knowing what are the items in which they can coach, what are the conversations that they should look at in order to coach, and overall, if this is working, conversion from stage to stage, and ultimately faster revenue, better sales teams, more equipped, better quality. I love it. It's been a great session, Snehal, learning more about MeetRecord. If anyone in the audience is curious and wants to have a meeting with Snehal and his team, please go to the CloudTask Marketplace, look for MeetRecord, and I'm sure you will be well treated. Snehal, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and I hope to catch you in a future episode.
Thanks, Ari. It was amazing.
Awesome. Bye-bye.